I know that I remember when my grandma died, one of my grandmothers died, and I was just reflecting on her life and on life, and I was thinking about the fact that when I die, I want the world to be a different and better place because I existed in it. And so I started thinking about my impact. And at that time, this happened in 2013. But at that time, I felt like, well, the biggest impact that I can make is if I start with myself and start with my children. If I raise at the time it was three productive, loving, free thinking, like, I'll just pour into these three individuals, well, then, and teach them that the world is not just about them growing and getting things for themselves. It's about what you can do for others and what you can do to make the world a better place. If I pass that ideology along, well, then that was what I felt like, at least that would be my contribution to making the world a better place. Start with my, what is it, microcosm, and then have it expand out through the macro. Is that right? There's a negative connotation. There's what, another child can be doing. It seems maybe cheeky. If a African-American child did that same thing, then it's bad, and there needs to be harsh disciplinary action for what what a child of color is doing, or they're perceived wrong. And they're not given that same grace as others, in line with things like the hair policy. In a lot of schools, the hair policy falls in alignment with a zero tolerance policy. And so you can literally be, or you could in Illinois, you can literally be expelled because of your hairstyle, or forbidden to attend class, or singled out, or bullied by adults because of the way that your hair grows out of your head. And that's not something that a Caucasian child will ever really have to worry about. There's not one policy, and I've been working with the Board of Education for weeks now. We're working on the policy. There's not one policy that goes against having straight hair. And so we need to start changing the ideology that Eurocentric senses of beauty is what's acceptable, and our Blackness is unacceptable. And these are some of the words I'm pulling straight from policies, where it says unprofessional, unacceptable, violation, like all types of negative connotations that are associated with things that are historically Black hairstyle, or ethnic hairstyles. So, well, what I'm doing is working on these types of policies, and working on getting rid of them. Not just the hair policy, we're working on we're exploring the other policies too that have some sort of discriminatory undertone for them, but not even just discriminatory. I'm having people, adults, evaluate why do we have any of these things in place in the first place, when the world is evolving so much. We have so much more information, that things related to personal appearance really should not be in the policies at all, because there's too many factors. There are children who are, what do they call it, housing at risk, or at-risk housing situations, that children that are in abusive situations, children that are just trying to embrace their creativity. We really should be examining how we can foster and support children and their mental health outcomes, rather than finding ways to police them for situations that oftentimes they don't have any control over, to be honest. You don't have control over how your hair grows. You don't have control over the way your parents comb your hair. You don't have control if you don't even have secure housing. You don't have control over the grooming of your hair. These are children. Okay. And so let's find ways to support them more. And let's, as adults, be advocates for them more. Let's get an understanding of their needs as it relates to mental health. There are more children than ever attempting suicide, bullying other people, And then we have the fallout of children trying to shoot up schools because they're being bullied. So if we take away the things that we call out that make people stand out, like, if it's in the policy that your hair is unacceptable, well, then you're calling it out and you're placing a target somewhere for somebody to get bullied on that certain thing, or to not feel so good about themselves because of this thing. And so what we have to be careful about is like not passing down biases. We have to stop passing down biases and stop handing down trauma now that we understand that these things are traumatic for children and for humans. We're all just trying, what does everybody want? We're just trying to be, right? We're trying to be happy. We're trying to feel loved. We're trying to love. We're trying to be accepted. All of us. And so that's kind of what I'm on a crusade to do, is to not hand down these biases and traumas to the next generation of children. When it came down to this, I actually did feel like I was going to, something inside of me, I don't know if the heart and the mind were meeting up, but something in the heart knew that I was going to make waves one way or another. And I specifically told Providence St. Mel, you have to decide what side of history you want to be on, because history is going to be made and you have to decide which side. And then I worked pretty much day and night and day. I have a business. Production was halted for the month of April. I did not produce. I'm an ice cream maker. Mm-hmm. Not one pint of ice cream got produced in April because I was making phone calls. I was doing research. I was reaching out to congressmen. I was reaching out to news outlets. I was trying to get in touch with the board. I was talking to people, rallying people, really starting a movement is what I was pretty much feeling like I was doing, because I understand the issues that come along with teaching children self-hatred, because that's what it is. It's self-hatred. And even I was conditioned that way. My hair, they started perming my hair when I was a very young child. And for us to perm your hair is to straighten it. And then now you look pretty, Started with the first straightening comb. It started with me being told I had bad hair. And it's something we do to ourselves. Oh, you got bad hair. Bad hair equals 4C, kinky hair. Like this. Ooh, that's bad hair. Good hair is soft, malleable hair, curly hair. So I was told I had bad hair, straightened it. And I did not feel good unless my hair was straightened. And that followed me all the way up to 2019. If I had to think of anything else that I'm really wanting to get out of this, is I really would love for there to be a push for more education on Blackness and Black culture, Black hair. I did not learn of the power. I just knew that it existed, but I learned specifically the history of Black hair through this journey and what it meant, like the hairstyles, like the association with courting, centuries, marriage, social status. Even now, that's still a thing. The hairstyles associated with social status, and as a means for freedom. Like, did you know that cornrows were braided into enslaved people's hair as a means to map out the road to freedom?
I did not know that.
Did you know that in transport, when they came, the transatlantic, transportation of slaves, that they hid rice, they braided rice in their hair to sustain them through for the journey? I did not know that, but you can kind of look, there's like all types of information about how the people, because they did not bring slaves here, they brought people, humans. The humans, as a survival technique, embedded rice into their hair and braided into it so that they could have food on the journey. And I read about how they shaved the hair was such a sense of pride for them. One of the first things that a lot of them did was shave the hair off to shave away their sense of pride and strip away their connection with the culture right away. And so again, for us, this is not just about hair. This is about our culture. And just like we say, we will never forget. We say so many things we will never forget. Have the sensitivity to understand that we need not ever forget where we come from. When you're doing the right things for the right reason, easy and successful is always made your way. So, and I figured out that all of the things that I've gone through are to be able to be a living testimony to other people that you can overcome this or you can overcome that. And I also feel like what I've gone through is to show other people that your voice matters. You can speak up if you see something that does not feel good right here, because what's this, like your adrenal medulla? So I don't know, it's something in here that when something is not right, and you can have you can empower yourself to step up and say something, and your voice matters, especially if you're coming from the right place and a good place.